As you can see, I'm wearing the hat. I'm wearing my hat to rep UC Berkeley. So I'm gonna start off this video by just introducing myself. My name is Paulo. Welcome to my channel. I'm an international student from Guatemala. I just recently actually got into UC Berkeley Haas, which is the business school of Berkeley. I'm studying business administration and French. I am 20 years old and yeah. So today we're gonna go over my stats, my extracurriculars, my essays, and just everything that I did in order to make myself stand out and get into UC Berkeley. So if you've watched these videos of how to get into a top school before, you've probably noticed that these people are literally so smart. They're like, oh yeah,
I got a perfect SAT score.
well, let me tell you something. This was my SAT score. I thought it was over for me. I thought I wasn't gonna get into any good schools. Yeah. However, out of all of the 11 universities that I applied to, the only one I did not get accepted into was USC, which is great. Getting into a good school, you need a balance. My SAT was terrible, so I had a good balance between academics and essays. Those were my top strengths when I was applying. I think in UMiami, I did turn in my SAT score and I still got over 120,000 in scholarships. I got the presidential scholarship in UMiami. They weren't just looking at my SAT score. They were looking at the other parts of my application that made it seem like I had potential. I always think to myself, I should have applied to Ivy Leagues, but I didn't. And that's because I just didn't see how much potential I had or how much power my story had. So these are things that you have to start valuing about yourself if you want to get into a top school. If you don't apply, then you're just taking away the opportunity for you to achieve. Because who knows, it's better to apply than to never have that opportunity like I did. So anyways, moving on to APs, I'm going to share with you what my scores were in APs, and this was a strong part of my application. Like I said, I didn't get a good SAT, but I did stand out in my academics in school. Although I did go to an international school, like I said, I'm from Guatemala, my school did offer AP classes. I took 6 APs, and in 3 of them, I got 5s. So in 10th grade, I took AP US History. It was the only AP I took, and I got a 5 in it. I swear to God, that was the hardest class I've ever taken in my life. I hated it. And obviously, me being an international student, studying AP US History was the death of me. Like, if you ask me something about AP US History, I will not I think I was 1 out of 3 people that got a 5. In 11th grade, I enrolled in AP Capstone. So AP Capstone consists of 2 classes. One is AP Seminar and the other is AP Research. I got a 5 in both of them. I think I was the only student who got a 5 in both of these APs. So this was something that definitely made me stand out as an applicant. Also, I didn't want to take these classes, so I think something to keep in mind with this is that you should push yourself. If you see a class that's hard in high school, like AP Biology or something like that, and you're slightly interested but afraid of how hard it's gonna be, you should definitely take that class because you don't know how well you're gonna perform. I thought I was gonna fail AP US History and I ended up getting a 5. I didn't want to take AP Capstone and I ended up getting a 5 in both of the classes. It just goes to show that when you push yourself, if you're determined to succeed, you can go above and beyond your expectations for yourself. Then I also took AP Environmental Science in my junior year as well, and I got a 4 in this exam. I also took AP Psych. This was one of my lowest grades. I got a 3. And I took AP Literature with a 3 as well. If you don't have good academics, don't worry. This is your time to shine. As long as you have good extracurriculars and good essays, Universities will look at you with potential. It doesn't make sense for universities to accept just straight A students. Then there would be no diversity. They're also looking for students who have potential. What they're looking for is for an upward sloping trend. As long as you have that and you balance it out with strong extracurriculars or strong essays, then you'll be fine. You'll stand out. Pick something that you think makes you who you are and make it a theme in your application. The main themes of my application were sustainability and advocacy. Those were my special. The things that I made sure to make a theme in both my essays and my extracurriculars. So, the first thing in my extracurricular list is I competed in the Global Youth Advancement Network, which is an international essay competition. I don't know what place I won, but my essay was published. It was basically an essay about promoting gender equality in Latin America. Yeah, that's pretty much it. My other activity was I was a member of the STEAM club. It was a very small club in my school. We were like 5 or 4 people. And basically we would do experiments, but we would also work with nonprofit organizations nationally in my country. And we also started the STEAM Talks initiative, which is basically like a TED Talk, but for STEAM. Then I also listed I was a member in the advanced high school band. Fun fact, I actually used to play the trombone. And I was so bad at it, but of course I listed it. You also kind of have to bullshit in the sense that even if you're not good at something, as long as you tried it, as long as you were there and you showed commitment to it, list it. Because it shows who you are and it shows dedication. The other activity I listed was I was a creator of a project called eBuild, a project that I started within my STEAM club. We would basically make paper bricks, and I also developed this process for insulating these paper bricks with recycled styrofoam. I competed in a STEAM fair, which was a national fair, but I ended up being 3rd place. I think I won a scholarship to a local university in Guatemala. It wasn't like a big scholarship or anything, it was just, yeah. And I also won like a phone and some money, like a cash prize. This seems like a lot. In reality, bro, I won like a Samsung and like less than $100 cash, so it's not a lot. It just took time to dedicate. So as you can see from all the activities that I listed right now, there's the theme that I was talking to you about. You see both sustainability and advocacy. Sustainability with STEAM things and advocacy with the essay. Moving on, I was also an English tutor in a foundation called Funda Niños, which is basically like a national foundation for orphaned children, and we would teach them English in school. Yeah. I was also an intern in my junior year in an environmental company, which basically makes solar batteries for small rural houses in Guatemala. I basically worked in the HR department here, and I was working in client operations. I had to update Excel data. It was a very introductory internship. I was also a volunteer at this hospital, national hospital in Guatemala called Centro More from 9th grade to 12th grade. I would basically work as a translator and then also just management. I would like guide patients to like their appointments. It was actually kind of sad sometimes because you were translating like a lot of things that were like depressing. Oh, then I also listed an award, which was a certificate for accomplishment in English. My school would basically give out diplomas for certain classes throughout the year, and I won one for English. I was also a team member in my high school varsity swim team. I hated swimming, and I would go to practice like once or twice every week, but of course I still listed it. I did end up going to international competitions twice for a high school swim. It wasn't really hard to get in. I wasn't that good in swimming, but it just so happens that my school had this opportunity for the swim team. Okay, so this is basically like my award section. I was an AP Scholar with honor. So for this award, you basically need an average score of at least 3.25 in your APs that you have taken And you also need to have taken 4 or more AP exams with a score of 3 or higher. These activities, honestly, like, it seems like I have a lot, which I do have a lot. What I would do is just kind of jump on from one to the next. So I would do something one year, something the next year, and then a lot of these were just like low commitment things like the essay competition or the science fair. So find opportunities that look good that are one-time commitments, because that way you'll list a lot of things. So then I was also a member of the green team, which was basically a waste management system in my school. I don't even remember doing this. I think I like low-key went to like a few meetings, and obviously I still listed it. I also listed for my academic awards that I did get an honor roll in 9th and 10th grade, and in 11th and 12th grade I got a distinguished honor roll. So basically for the normal honor roll you need at least a 90% average, and for the distinguished honor roll you needed a 95 or above percent average. I did get both of these. I also listed that I worked with Habitat for Humanity. I'm sure you've heard of it. We basically like build houses and shit. I was out there in the field building houses. That actually happened. The reason why I have so many volunteer activities is because my school required you to do at least 30 hours of community service a year. Every year I would just do different organizations. And then magically I had a lot of activities in my resume, and it was something mandatory by my school. It was a win-win. I was also a member of Interact, which is basically a service club by Rotary International. I would do basic community service activities. We also did like a mask program where we would like donate masks and sanitary equipment. I'm gonna link this document down below. So if you want to check out exactly what I wrote for my activities, then you can check out the documents. In total, I had 17 activities that I put in my resume. This is a combination of both activities and honors. This is for the Common App. I don't know what the limit is. I think it's 20. So take your time, really think about what you've done. If you're a freshman or someone that's not yet like applying to school soon, I would recommend every year just like kind of making a mental note or writing down somewhere the things that you have done that year. That's the end of my activities, end of communication. That was boring. I'm sorry for that. Don't be worried. Don't be scared. Maybe that seemed like a lot, but I'm sure you're qualified. I'm sure that you have activities. So, okay, now moving on to essays. No matter how ordinary you think that you are, you have to start convincing yourself that your story is special and that there's something unique about it. I know that we always feel like we are just copies of each other in our own environments, but in reality, we all have things that make us special. We just don't realize it because they're so mundane to us. So, don't be afraid to work with someone to build your essays. If you don't know what you want to write about, that's okay. Talk to someone that knows you. Read these prompts to them and tell them, what prompt do you think I should answer? If you ask someone that knows you really well, they'll have a clear idea of who you are and how you've changed. So they'll be able to tell you, talk about this. Remember when you did blank thing in high school? Or remember when you competed in that competition? Or remember when you went through this big trauma and you solved it? We can sometimes be our biggest enemies. So instead, try to get help from the environment around you. The prompt that I decided to answer when I applied to college, which was in 2022, I am now a junior in UC Berkeley, was some students have a background, identity, or talent that is so meaningful that they believe their application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, then please share your story. And I think they always keep this prompt. I think this prompt is shared by a lot of international students because we obviously have a background, a different story, and we want to share that with college admissions. Specifically, I talked about what it's like growing in Guatemala and the challenges that I faced. I got to show my culture, my values, and how I've grown. Pick the one thing that you just carry in your heart. For me, it was my story. It was just the way that I experienced life. That's why I chose that prompt. I grew so much from growing up in Guatemala that I felt like that was in a part of my identity that I had to share in my application. That's the one thing that I chose, my cultural heritage and the challenges that I went through growing up in Guatemala. I remember that when I was in high school in Guatemala, I felt like everyone was just way ahead of me in the US because I would always watch these like videos about how to get into a good school and stuff like that. And it seemed like everyone just had the perfect SAT scores, the perfect grades, the perfect everything, and they just knew everything about college when I didn't. But remember that college admissions is based on your context. So if you feel very behind than other people, just know that colleges know you might not have the same opportunities as everyone else. You might have not gone to the best school. Colleges just want to see that you have the potential to succeed. So show them this because you do have the potential to succeed and I believe in you. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Everything will be okay. You will end up in a good school at the end of the day. All that matters is that you're getting your degree. If you want me to make a video about how to choose your school, then definitely let me know because that was a process I really struggled with. But I want you to end off this video by feeling inspired. So go do it. Go do your applications. Keep dreaming about what schools you want to get into. Go watch that college vlog and just find somewhere that you feel like you want to go and apply. Don't be afraid to apply. Also, keep in mind that I do always post vlogs about Berkeley. I'm gonna post like move-in vlog and just a lot of things about colleges. So I'll keep you guys updated. If you made it to the end of this video, please comment where you think you want to apply, comment what your dream school is, and also just any questions that you have, feel free to ask them because I will be looking at the comments and answering these questions for you guys. With that, I want to end up this video and go Bears. Please make sure to leave a thumbs up. Yeah, go ahead, click that bell button and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.